Good morning, students. So, this is the summary lecture of chapter number 3, Democracy and Diversity, class 10, subject civics. So, we have covered the entire chapter now, and it was quite a small chapter. Now, in this particular lecture, we are going to recall each and every topic again with its minor details, and I am going to give you some major revision notes from this chapter so that it could help you in future if any test occurs, and you can revise it very easily from those notes. So, and still if you have any queries from these notes, you can ask me anytime on my number as well, or on the student inquiry section wherever possible. So we should begin with the lecture. So these are few of the revision notes that I want to give you from this chapter, and it is not such a difficult chapter that you need to because this chapter basically is not coming in your board, so it's just for your revision and for your class test or cycle test which may occur anytime. So these notes could help you there only. So better you just have a major concept about all the topics that is there in this chapter, just a major concept, learning about the major concepts, that's it. So basically we saw in this chapter that how power can be distributed to accommodate linguistic and regional diversity. So we have seen that major differences, major diversity that are there in one particular country, it can create a lot of crisis, divisions and social differences in one particular country. If there are a lot of communities that are there, a lot of linguistic and regional diversities are there, it can create a lot of conflicts in one particular country. Then people also identify them on the basis of their physical appearance as well. So in every country the social differences are majorly there. They identify people on the basis of their physical appearance, class, religion, gender, caste, tribes, etc. So majorly in every community we have seen that they criticize other people on the basis of their physical appearance, their class, their religion, gender, caste, tribes, etc. And in this particular chapter we have studied how this democracy responds to social differences, divisions and equality. So in this chapter we have seen major things, that how democracy is responsible for the social differences, divisions and equality in one country, and we then turn to how democratic politics also affect, and it is affected by the social diversities as well. So we have talked about the social differences, the types of social differences, how democracy is responsible for these social differences that are there in one country, the divisions that are there, the inequality that has been seen from ages until now, it is still there if we don't talk about it, but it is still there. And how the politics involved in democracy affect, and it is affected in many social diversities as we have seen here. Now first of all, in this chapter there was a story that was given from the Mexico Olympics. So there was a story that have been given, and that depicts a very iconic movement that happened in the United States when these Mexico Olympics have been held, and this story depicts an important landmark in the history of the civil rights movements in the United States. So basically in this particular movement, there were two men who were standing with clenched fists upraised and head bowed, are the US athletes Tommy Smith and the John Carlos. So they were the two athletes who have won the medals in the Olympics in the 200-meter race, and they were standing there having that medal with them in with clenched fists, upraised their head, and their head was bowed, and these US athletes names were Tommy Smith and John Carlos. So basically in the International Olympic Association held this Carlos and Smith guilty of violating the Olympic spirit by making a political statement, and their medals were also taken back. So what was the story is all about here? So there were two US athletes. Basically, they were African Americans. They were not the white Americans. They have actually associated with the problem that they were facing from a very long time in America, which was the black and white problem. So there was a situation that was going on from a very long period of time, and in 1968 they have raised their problem in an international platform, to show that they have been suffering from this discrimination that is going on from ages in their country, and they want to know, they want to tell the people entirely in the world, to show them that we are facing this racial discrimination in our country and we need help, basically to show that. So these US athletes received their medals wearing only a pair of black socks there with no shoes, to represent black poverty. So they were representing their situation as black poverty by how they were showing. So they were showing by wearing just black socks. They come to take their medals just wearing black socks and no shoes, to represent the black poverty which is facing by this African Americans in US. And the black loved it and raised the clenched fist were meant to symbolize the black power there. So they also did that black loved it and raised their clenched fist, which symbolizes the black power there. So they were saying in one way or the other, if you still are discriminating us, still we are wanting the medal for you. So they just want to show their power, show the black power to the US people out there, that still we can overcome a lot of things and won the medals despite of all the discrimination that we are facing in. And they were responding to the social divisions and social inequality that they are facing. With this gesture, their intention was to draw international attention. So the major attention they want to grab from this thing was to get the attention from the international attention to racial discrimination in the United States. So basically they want the attention of the people all around the world to witness that the racial discrimination that has been going on since ages in United States. And Peter Norman, who wore a human right badge on his shirt during the ceremony to show his support to the two Americans. The medals were taken back from Tommy Smith and John Carlos because the International Olympic Association held both of them guilty of violating the Olympic spirit by taking the political statement here. So basically there was one more member who came second here, who was an Australian athlete whose name was Peter Norman. He wore the human rights badge on his shirt during the ceremony to show his support to the two Americans, and the medal were taken back from Tommy Smith and John Carlos because the International Olympic Association held both of them guilty of violating the Olympic spirit by making a political statement there. So basically their medals were taken, and even Peter Norman was also violated by this act that he has supported them. So they have also taken strict action against him, and they were guilty of violating this Olympic spirit by making the political statement in an international platform. So they were being cursed and they were being guilty of doing such thing, and their medals were also taken back. So that was the incident of these two US athletes who protested at the Mexico Olympics in 1968. So back home they were subjected to a lot of criticism. Even Norman had also suffered a lot. He has not included in the next Olympics. So what are these things that have faced after this that they have done? So they have subjected to a lot of criticism, and even Norman, who was not even included, he was just supporting them, he had also suffered a lot because of this thing, and he was not included in the next Olympics that held in any of the country. But their action gained attention for the civil rights movement in the US. So their actions have gained a lot of attention for the civil rights movements in the US at that time. So what was this civil rights movements? So the period of the civil rights movements in 1954 to it lasted in 1968. So it was being started by Martin Luther King Jr. and he was against this social discrimination which was going on from a very long time. So the movement refers to a set of events and reforms movements aimed at abolishing legal rational discrimination against African and Americans, and this movement practiced non-violent methods of civil disobedience against rationally discriminatory laws and practices. So here this movement lasted from 1954 to 1968, and the movement was started by Martin Luther King Jr. and he was the one who was against the social discrimination which was going on in US from a very long time, from the white and black problem that is going on in US from a very long time, from 17th till 19th century. It has been coming up again and again, and the black people were very poor and they have given no rights, and they were not even given the rights to vote also. That's why they started this movement to raise their voice against discrimination, and this practice was basically a non-violent method of civil disobedience against rationally discriminatory laws and practices. So basically they want to abolish all the laws that have been formulated between these Africans and Americans. So all the major powers have been given to the white Americans and no major powers were given to the African Americans. So they want to abolish that. They want that equality should be accomplished there. They should also get the major rights that are given to them. They should also get land area. They should also get the major rights. They should also get the right to vote. So basically they were fighting for these things, and they were majorly successful also to accommodate these all the rights they want to acquire. Now the another topic that is there in this chapter is about differences, similarities and divisions. So basically all the differences that are there in a society, it doesn't depend on only one factor. It depends on major factors and major types also. So we are going to discuss that in this particular topic about differences, similarities and divisions. So the athletes above were responding to the social divisions and social inequality. So the two athletes, the examples that we have talked recently about, they were basically responding to the social divisions here. So they were social divisions that are there in one country and they want to abolish that, the social inequalities that one community is facing over another. So they have one community is at par, they are dominating the other particular social group here. So they want to abolish that. So it is a kind of a social division and social inequality. And social diversity can take different forms in different societies. So basically the social diversity can take many forms in different societies here. How they work, what are the basic types, and how these people are getting discriminated. So we'll study that. So firstly, these differences, similarity, divisions start from its origin from its social differences. So what is the basic origin of the social differences? Basically there are two types of the social differences here. The social differences are mostly based on the accident of birth. So what does accident of birth majorly mean here? That in whatever community or in whatever society you are born to, that is by accident of birth. It is not your choice. You have been produced in one particular community and you have been belonging to that only community. It is not your choice, but you were a part of that community and you don't have any control over that. So these social differences are mostly based on the accident of birth. How? Because we don't choose to belong to our community. So if I am Punjabi and you are from one different community, so we belong to different communities. Because I was born in this community, so I belong to this community. I didn't choose that I want to be this only. So it is not my choice. It is just because I was born in it, the accident of birth that happens. So we don't choose to belong to any of the community. We belong to it simply because we were born into it, and we experience social differences based on accident of birth in our everyday lives. So there are many things that have been made: journal, OBC, SC, ST. So these communities have been made, and we have been categorized into different communities. These different communities have been established into these different sections here. So it is not a choice of our own that we are of an OBC caste or we are from ST caste or SC caste. It doesn't matter because we were born in it. It is not our choice. We just belong to it because we are born in that. Similarly, there is one more case here that is based on our choices. So some of the differences are based on our choices as well. How? For example, some people are athletes. They don't believe in God or any religion. Every social difference does not lead to social division here. So basically, some of the differences are based on our choices. Some people are athletes, some may be actors, some may be belonging to one religion but they want to follow the another religion, and some people don't believe in God and any other religion, and some people choose to follow a religion other than the one in which they were actually born. Most of us choose to study a subject of our interest and an occupation where we can excel, and all these lead to formation of social groups that are based on our own choices here. So basically they are telling that it's our own choice what subject we want to study, what occupation we want to acquire, in which field we want to go into, if we want to belong to a community of engineering, doctor, teachers and whatever. So it's our own choice. We can choose whatever occupation we want to be in. We want, if we like the subject science more than SST, so obviously that's your own choice that we love that subject more than that particular subject. So everyone have their own interest. Many would like English more than maths, many would like maths more than science. So it all depends on your own choices. Some may be athletes, some may be actors, some may be scientists. So it all depends on their choices here. So in the instance above, Carlos and Smith were the similar in one way and thus different from Norman, who was white. So basically if we say that Carlos, Smith and Norman, they were similar in one thing because they choose to be an athlete here, but they were different in one thing, the accident of birth, because Norman was a white Australian and they were African black. So the difference that occur here is because the accident of birth, nothing else. The way the occupation they have choose based on their choices is similar, so that connect them more. But they were also all similar in one way, that they all were athletes who stood against this racial discrimination also. And there were more common thing between them is that they were athletes but they also follow the same racial discrimination. They were against this racial discrimination, they don't want to follow that, so they were a part of it. And we all have more than one identity and can belong to more than one social group. So if I belong to one community and I want to be a part of another religion and I want to worship another community, it's my choice, I can do that. So we all have more than one identity, we can do that, and we can belong to more than one social group also. And we have different identities in different contexts as well. So we can have more identities and it can be different identities in different contexts as well. Now there's one more thing that is occurring here is about overlapping and cross-cutting differences. So the another type of differences that we acquire is overlapping and cross-cutting differences. So what is better here, we'll know about it. In overlapping differences, we will got to know about this overlapping social differences that create possibilities of deep social divisions and tension. In overlapping, one kind of social difference become more important than the other, and the people start feeling that they belong to a different community here. So basically they are telling that the social divisions that take place in one country, they can take place from one social differences can overlap with the another. So one major community can dominate the another community if they have been given the power here. So likewise in Sri Lanka we can take the example, the Sinhalese were the major ones who have given all the rights and all the power, and the Tamilians were the one who were not given any major powers, any major rights. So that Sinhala community can dominate the other community, they can overlap the other community, and they can create certain social differences in major way. In the US as well, because the blacks tend to be the poor, homeless and discriminated against. So here the in US, if we talk about, the black are the dominant here, and the white people who are rich, who have got all the rights, they can dominate the black community here. So in US, because the blacks tend to be the more poor, homeless and discriminated against with all rights, so they can do a lot of stuff to these people. So in our country also, we can take an example of our country as well, like Dalits tend to be poor and landless here. So in our country, the poorest community that has been there is Dalits, and we tend to take Dalits as very poor and landless, and we slave them as much as we possible. So they are the dominant society in our country, and all the urban people who are living and the rich communities, they what they do, they actually dominate the other community. So basically the overlapping difference meaning here is that one community who have the major power and social they can create a certain social division between two communities here, because one is overlapping the other, one is dominating the other because of the powers that have been given to that community here. So I have given you 3 examples. One is of Sri Lanka, that Sinhalas were overlapping the Tamilians here. In US, the blacks were the one who were the poor and dominant in US, and the whites were the dominating society here. In our country, Dalits are the one who have been dominated from ages. Now they often face discrimination and injustice in many ways. So they are getting dominating, they are facing a lot of discrimination. Obviously injustice is there in all these cases, and it is going to be there for many times if we are not going to abolish the factor of religion, and we are going to create differences and violence, conflicts because of the communities we belong to. Now the groups that we share have a common interest on one issue are likely to be different issue. So the another option here is that one group can share a common interest on one issue are likely to be in different issues also. So what it is saying that if one community is sharing similar issues, but it is not we can't say that they could also have the similar opinions about each and every topic here. They can also have different issues, they can have different opinions on every topic that they share. So the group that they share should have a common interest on one issue, that can be possible, but it is not likely that they could have the similar opinion on every issue. It can be different from one another, and overlapping social differences can create possibilities of deep social division and tensions. So overlapping social differences here, it can create possibility of deep social divisions and tensions. How? Because if the power is given to some communities and they can dominate the other community, it is going to create a major social division between the communities that are there in one country. So these social divisions can create major tension also, because obviously if one community is dominating, for how long they are going to dominate, they will come up with their point, they will come to witness that they want their rights to be there, they want to acquire each and every right of their own, because it is quite possible. So they also want to have certain equal rights in one particular country, so they will always come up there. So that can create conflicts in one country, tension in one country, and the cross-cutting social differences are easier to accommodate. But the another example is there in this social differences is cross cutting. So how cross cutting works here and how it is easier to accommodate. So basically in cross cutting, groups that share a common interest on one issue are sometimes on different sides and on different issues as well. So I have given you one example of Netherlands and Ireland here. So basically in Netherlands, the class and the religion tend to cut cross each other. Like they were belong in Ireland, in North Ireland, they were one community that have aparted their two opinions of Catholics and Protestants there, and the major communities that are there were Catholics and Protestants. So they were have been given about equal, likely to be poor or rich. That was not the scene there. They were similar, and there are no conflict in the Netherlands because they belong to one community. And if they are aparting their issues also, they have certain common interests on which they follow each other. But if they have different issues, they don't conflict, they create conflicts between each other. They understand and accept all the different issues that are there, and they accept them with very courtesy. So this is about cross cutting here, and the politics or the social division, how it works. So how politics can work under the social division. So now another topic that is there, and the last major topic that is there in this chapter, is how politics is involved in social division. So how does politics work under the social division? So at first sight, it would appear that the combination of politics and social division is very dangerous and explosive. So wherever politics is involved, obviously there will be conflicts, there will be divisions that is going to come across, because the politicians that are there, they have their own parties, they have their own power. If they want to share it with only one community, obviously the other community will face the problems, and if the other party is supporting that community, so they will create certain social divisions in the communities, and it will create to civil war, violence, and a lot of things. So basically these political parties, if they are involved with these communities, and they can basically create the social divisions into political divisions, and which can lead to conflicts, violence, or even disintegration of a country, and this has happened in many countries. So likewise, I had given you the example of Sri Lanka. So how they were political parties that have been there. They have taken all the rights to the Sinhala community, and after a while the Tamils have come up with their own party. They have stand up for their own community there to have the equal rights. So there were major conflicts, there were major wars, civil wars that happened in that country to get equal rights here. So the politics that have been involved in that country have created many social divisions and conflicts. Likewise, in other countries like Northern Ireland that I have given you the example, so they were Catholics and Protestants, and one political party have taken the side of Catholics and the other have taken the side of Protestants. But what they have done there, what they have done there, that after a lot of violence that are there, they at the end they have signed the peace treaty in 1998 there. Still there is conflict, there is differences, but they were they haven't created any social division or parted that country into parts. So the ranges of outcomes, if we talk about the Northern Ireland of the United Kingdom, has been for many years, and the site of the violent and bitter ethnic political conflict is still one of the examples. So how? Because in cross-cutting groups, in that particular land, the political parties that have been taken the side of these two communities, they want to create these social divisions between these two communities, and these examples can lead to some people to conclude that politics and social divisions must not be allowed to mix. So if we are mixing politics with the social divisions here, it is going to create conflicts, it is going to divide that country into many parts, and it is going to create a lot of wars, violence and conflicts in one country. So it's better we should not include politics here, because in Yugoslavia, I have given the example, it was because of these involvement of politics there, the country has been divided into 6 major parts there. So because the involvement that was there in that country, it has divided that country into 6 major countries now. So the social divisions do exist in a country and they must never be expressed in politics. So as you all know that social divisions will always be there. There will be different communities, there will be diversity in one country, and there will be social divisions. Everyone want to acquire their own land, everyone want their community to be above of the another. But if politics is going to involve with these social division, it is going to create more conflicts, more violence and more death, as I have seen, and you have also seen that I have given you the examples also. So at the same time, every expression of social divisions in politics does not lead to such disasters. So at the same time, every expression that is there of the social division in politics does not lead to such disasters. In a democracy, it is only natural that these political parties would talk about these divisions and make different promises to different communities here. So in a democracy, it is it is only natural that these political parties would talk about these divisions and make different promises to different communities. So one party is promising to one community that if we become the owner of one particular, if we win, we are going to give major rights to your community, and the another party is giving such promises to another community. So what they are creating certain social divisions. They are converting the social division into political divisions now, and these social divisions affect the voting in most of the countries. So because of the social divisions that are there, they also affect on the voting process also in most of the countries, and in many countries there are parties that focus only on one community. So like in Sri Lanka, all the parties that are involved, they are supporting only the Sinhala community there. They are focusing on one community and they are neglecting the other. So it is one of the examples. So how you can abolish that, how you can determine what are the 3 determinants that can abolish these politics from the social divisions, what can be the outcome of these politics of the social divisions, what could be the factors. So the 3 factors are very crucial in deciding the outcome of politics of social division. So there are major 3 factors, major 3 determinants that are very crucial in deciding the outcome of politics of social division here. So what are these 3 factors? So first of all, the outcome depends on how people perceive their identities. So first of all, it all depends on how we are perceiving our identity. If I am saying that I am Punjabi, the other one saying I am Rajasthani, I am Muslim, I belong to this community, or I belong to that community. So it is going to create a lot of diversity firstly, then it is going to create a lot of communities, it will create social divisions, and lastly, if the politics is involved in these communities, it is going to create conflicts. So if you want to abolish that, how people are perceiving their identities is major thing. So if people see their identities in exclusive terms, like if it becomes very difficult to accommodate, as if there will be more and more communities, it will be difficult to accommodate all of them together. So as long as people in Northern Ireland also saw themselves from only Catholic and Protestant, their differences were difficult to reconcile. It is easier if identities are complementary with national identity. This helps them to stay together. So if we don't say that we belong to this community or that community. We say that we are Indian, or we are from we belong to this particular country. It will be easier to recognize their identities and to accommodate themselves easily, and this also help them to stay together for a longer time. So if there will be no major communities there, there is only one that identity, that they are complementing it with their national identity. So they are witnessing themselves as national identity, as we are Indian, or we are from America, we are from London. So if you are developing that thing with yourself and with your in your country, it is going to create less conflict, and it is going to help them to stay together more. Second, it depends on how political leaders raise the demand of any community. So secondly, it also depends on how the political leaders raise the demands of any community. So it is easier to accommodate the demand that are within the constitutional framework. So if the political leaders, they are saying their promises, and they are taking the demands as per the constitutional framework that is there, so it is going to be easier to reconcile or accommodate each and every person easily, but not on the cost of any other community there. The demand for only Sinhala was at the cost of the interest and identity of the Tamil community in Sri Lanka. So all the political leaders were taking the demand of only Sinhala, and they were not framing any constitutional framework which could be abolished, appointed as a whole for the entire nation. They were not following that. They were just taking the demand of one community, and they were they were not even considering the other community there. So that was creating another hindrance here. So that's why political leaders, they should take the demand of any community with utmost power, so that they are taking them into consideration with the help of constitutional framework only, and not particularly to one community. They should not promise that only to one community, they should be for the entire nation. Third, it also depends on how the government reacts to demands of different groups here. So third, it depends on how the government reacts to the demand of different groups here. So if the ruler are willing to share power, accommodate the reasonable demand of minority community. Likewise in Belgium, there were social divisions that became less threatening for the country. But if the demand is suppressed in the name of national unity, as in Sri Lanka, the end result is quite opposite. Such attempts at forced integrate saw the seeds of disintegration. So basically, if the ruler, the main ruler, is willing to share the power between each and every community and each and every person who is there, and not and taking the reasonable demands of the minority community as well, who are dominating here in one particular country, so it is going to come up with equality, no less conflicts and less violence in one country, and it is going to accommodate people easily, and they can stay together easily. Likewise, there was in Belgium, there were social divisions, but because they were less threatening for the country, because they have taken their country into equal power. They have given all the rights, all the power at the top level also in each and every community. They have considered each and every community, and they have given the power to every community there. That's why there were less conflicts. But if the demand of is suppressed in the name of national unity, as in Sri Lanka, we have seen that the end result is quite opposite. In Sri Lanka, all the political leaders who were there, assigned as the government, major government officials, they were Sinhala, so they have given all the major rights to that community, and that has created the seed of disintegration in that country. So to abolish that, we should take these factors into consideration, because they can create or break the country into parts, and the social divisions are the major parts of creating and dividing the country into parts. So, thus the acceleration of social diversities in a country need not to be seen as a source of danger. These acceleration of social diversities in a country need not to be seen as a source of danger, because how? Because the expression of various kinds of social divisions in politics often result in their cancelling one another out and thus reducing their intensity. So the expression of every kind of social division in politics may result in cancelling one another out and thus reducing their intensity, and people who feel marginalized, deprived and discriminated have to fight against the injustice here. Sometimes the social differences can take the form of unacceptable level of social inequality and injustice, and these social differences can take basically they can take the form of unacceptable level of social inequality and injustice that are there in one country. And the history shows that democracy is the best way to fight for recognition and also to accommodate diversity here. So basically here they have talked about various things that can create or break one country, because the social divisions that are there in a country can be a source of danger, because they can apart the communities and they can apart one country into parts. And the expression of various kinds of social divisions that are there that are formed by these politics, they can cancel one another by reducing their intensities because of the violence that they are creating, and people feel marginalized, they feel bad for themselves that they belong to one community, they feel deprived, discriminated from the another communities, they have to fight it out for their own rights, and that is quite injustice to them. Sometimes the social differences can take the form of unacceptable levels of social inequality and injustice, and history show that democracy is one of the best way possible, because it has all the constitutional framework which is being recognized to take in consideration for all the communities here. It is not being assigned and it's not being framed just to give the major part to one community. They have focused on all the major communities here, and they have fight for recognition also to accommodate diversity in that particular framework. Now the important terms that are there in this particular chapter is about homogeneous society. So what it says, a society that has similar kind of people. So in a one particular society, all the people who have similar interests, similar kind of people, and especially there where there are no significant ethnic differences there. So for example, in Germany and Sweden, they are kind of similar people you will find there, and they have similar interests, similar issues also they are facing. So basically in homogeneous society they have kind of similar things that are there, and there is no significant of ethnic differences. Now the second major term here was migrant. So migrant means that anybody who shifts from one region or another or country to another region within a country, or to the another country usually for work or other opportunities, is called migrant. So if I am shifting from here to US, or if I am even changing my place or shifting my place from here to Kerala, so I will be known as migrant, because I don't belong to that place. I'm just here for some work or some other opportunities if I'm getting there. So that's what it says, that anybody who shifts from one region or any country also to another region within a country or to another country usually for work or other opportunities is called migrant. Now there was Black Power movement that was quite famous there. So this movement emerged in 1966 and lasted till 1975, and it was a more militant and anti-racist racist movement, and the Black Power movement advocated even violence to end racism in the US. So basically this movement emerged in 1966 and lasted till 1975, and it was a more militant and anti-racist movement, and the Black Power movement advocated even violence to end racism in the US. Now the homework solution I want to give you is that so here is What are the three factors that determine the outcome of social divisions in politics? Explain. So we have just talked about it. So the factors that determine the outcome of politics in social division are people's perceptions. So this is the most important factor that decides the outcome of their politics of social division. If the people see their identity in singular and executive terms, then it will lead to social division and violence. Second, raising the demands by political leaders. So basically the outcome of politics also depends on how political leaders raise the demands of any community, and it is easier to accommodate demands that are within the constitutional framework. Third, reaction of government. The outcome of politics or social division also depend on reaction of government, that how the government reacts to the demand of different social groups. So this is the homework solution. Now the homework that I want to assign you in this particular lecture is nothing much you have to do. You have to just do the NCERT exercise question within your book itself from question number 5 to 9 in your book as a homework, and the test of chapter number 3 that I want to assign you today from water resources will be published on EDUCAUR website at 10 AM, and you will get an hour to do that test. So you will just, of 25 marks, you will get an hour to do that particular test, and you have to mail me on my email ID, as you all know. So you will get 1 hour to do that. Better if you it will be publishing at 10 AM. So be ready for that test and do this homework. You have to do it in your book itself. And still you have any queries from this particular chapter, you can ask me in the student inquiry section or the comment section itself. And please just take care of your health, be healthy, study as much as you can, and take care of your own health and your parents' health as well. Thank you so much, class. Take care.